Hey, I'm Chip Foose. Welcome to Foose Design. Come on in, let me show you what's going on. You might remember a couple years ago we built a C10 pickup called the C28. Well, I sold that to one of my customers and he sold it to another friend of his, Fred Hargrove. And we borrowed it from Fred to take it to the SEMA show, and Fred said he wanted to sell it. And I said, well, I'd be interested, but going through a difficult time in my life, I didn't have the money at the time. I said, I can trade you something. And he says, well, what do you have? And I said, let's start this way. What do you want? He says, I've always wanted a 70 Chevelle. Well, I had bought this 70 Chevelle and I had done drawings of what I wanted to do to it. So I showed Fred the drawings. He said, I'd love it. So we finished this up for Fred. We had it at the SEMA show last year and we didn't have air conditioning in it. He wanted air conditioning. So that's what we're doing for it now. I'm going to put the AC in, send this back down to Texas for Fred, and he'll be driving this down to Texas and having a good time with it. Now, some of the things that we did to make this a little bit different is I've always liked the double headlights on the 70, but on the 70 rear bumper, it was just a rectangular rear light. Well, I put a 71.2 Chevelle rear bumper, so it's got the double round headlights on both, or taillights on both sides, and then I switched it from the Chevelle bumper to an El Camino bumper because the El Camino has the round light. So now all the lights in the car are round. Now, if you've got a 70 Chevelle and you think you might want to put the El Camino front bumper or the 71.2 rear bumper, you can go to OPG and get those parts. When we had this at the SEMA show, it was in the OPG booth. Next to the Chevelle, we've got Gary Kropp's chassis, which is a Morrison chassis. It's got an LT4 motor in it with a Whipple supercharger. This is for a 62 Corvette. Now we've painted everything in this really cool satin blue with the black powder-coated chassis. It's ready. We've just got to get the body painted so we can get that put back on this, get the interior and all the chrome work done. This is going to be a really beautiful car, and I can't wait to give this back to Gary. Now, sitting over here, we've got Stephen Dahlrich. It's a 54 DeSoto. And what we did with this car, originally he sent it in, he said he just wanted to keep all the original paint that's on it, the patina that it had, and we put a front clip on it with some Corvette spindles and A-arms. We put a brand new Hemi in it. Everything inside is going to be brand new, and now he's decided that he wants to paint the car. We were just going to put it back on the chassis, have all that patina and all that coolness with the new modern stuff inside, but now it's going to get painted. It's going to look like a brand new car with all the modern drivetrain and everything else underneath. Next to this, we've got Rex Shields' 56 pickup. We didn't build this truck. We are just trying to make it a better driver for Rex. Just mechanical issues that the truck had that we're trying to fix, all those little things that make it a very reliable and dependable truck. Next to that, we've got this 67 C10 pickup that I bought this truck out of Georgia a few years back. I ordered a Roadster Shop chassis. We dropped it on. Greg Cox built a small block for it, and I still have a few things that I've got to get done to it to, finish it up. But underneath, basically one of the coolest things I can't wait to start playing with is MagnaFlow has the X-Mod mufflers that they've built, which is a tunable muffler. So once we start driving this, you know, sometimes you get a truck done or a car done and you have that loud drone that really bothers you at one point. Some RPM position on the motor, sometimes you'll have this loud drone noise in the car. Well, with the X-Mod, you can tune that out. So we'll find out once we get it done what it's going to take to get rid of it, if we have it. Other than that, it's just a bone stock truck. It was a completely restored truck, had a straight inline six in it, and I went ahead and put the V8 in the Roadster Shop chassis. I'm going to make a different set of wheels for it. These are just the rollers that are on it now, but once I'm done with all the customers' cars, I'll get back on this one. Bob Briggs, he sent us his 36 three-window coupe that I originally designed this car, and it was all hand-built by Marcel's Custom Metal. So it is a steel car, but it's a one-off hand-built car. Had full fenders. It was blue at one point. Bob sent it back and decided he wanted to repaint it, and we're doing it all black. We're going to change the wheels, and we just got the paint out of the body out of the paint shop. We've stuck it on the chassis. Now Petey's trying to get it all wired and running again before we mount all the fenders and the doors and start putting the interior back in. But I'm really excited to see this car in the black. It was blue before, two-tone blue. You might remember it, but I think it's going to look really cool all black. Let's go next door and check out the paint shop. Well, if you go to the zoo and you check out the monkey cage, well, we don't have monkeys here, but we got Steve DeMann. He's over here. He's the one that's prepping and getting the 56 ready. This is Ron Lund's. We've dropped this on a Roadster Shop chassis. We've got an LS3 as the motor inside, but this car is going to have a really radical interior, but a very stock appearing exterior. Just fit bumpers, but all the moldings and everything are still on this car. Everything's just fit and dialed in. It's going to look beautiful. It's going to be a nice root beer with a cream color on the top. Over in the back, we've got a 33 Ford four-door sedan. When we get in the other shop, I'll show you the picture. But basically, this car is all finished and almost ready for paint. We've just been fitting the hood a little nicer. I wasn't happy with that. So we got to finish fitting the hood, get the final prime on the front end, and then we can get this to paint. It's going to be a real dark blue, almost black, and then a mohair interior. It's going to be a beautiful car when it's finished. But let's go next door and I'll show you the really cool project that we're doing for Pat and Linda Velasco. Pat and Linda Velasco's Continental, the biggest body mod is the fact that we've cut the top off of it. It's going to be a full-time roadster, and we're also modifying the bumper slightly. We've pulled the headlights back and dropped them down a little bit. It's all subtle things that are being done to it. A little bit of a line change on the front fenders, and then in the back we changed the wheel well openings and dropped that big giant spare tire cover that's normally in the back. Now when this has that giant top on it, the spare tire cover is smaller and it doesn't look so obtrusive. But once we've cut the top off, that was going to look giant, so I went ahead and cut that down about 3 inches, and we're finishing up the metal work for that. But this will be a real fun little cruiser. Can't wait to see it all finished. Now that exhaust that runs through the rocker, once it comes here, it'll turn and go back underneath the chassis. And then we'll go through all the MagnaFlow exhaust or mufflers and finish out with some tips in the back. But it's pretty cool the way they designed this car, that the exhaust is running through the rockers and nothing hangs low, but MagnaFlow has all the pieces. They gave us all the tubes so we could build the headers up front, and they're building all the pieces that we need in the underside of the chassis, and then to get the tips all the way out the back. So couldn't do it without MagnaFlow's help. Thank you. So you kind of see what that's going to look like. It's that wraparound interior that the Thunderbird had, but we're fitting it in the Continental. I think it's going to look beautiful. We'll go ahead and finish all this. This will be interior color. We'll have a chrome molding that runs around outside, and outside the chrome molding is the finished paint color of the car. That's going to look awesome. I love it.